All right. Good afternoon. It is Friday. For those of you who are checking us out for the first time during the open house, I hope you enjoyed your time. I really had a great experience. I did with all of you. I had a lot of fun this week, and really enjoyed getting to meet a lot of you and see what your trading is like and share ideas with you. So, had a really pleasant open house this week. Hopefully, you did too. But that wraps it up. Today is the last day to take advantage of the current promotion. Okay, so if you benefited from it, if you felt like you learned a lot, then please do check it out. All right, so let's get into the Qs and SPY here, starting with the Qs, going to be up 1.2% almost, and then the SPY up 0.85. Okay, we do see a little bit of sector rotation. Over the last couple of weeks, we noted that the SPY had been stronger than the Qs, and we're starting to see that sector rotation. That's pretty indicative of strength in the market. Just to recap what we're looking at coming into today, we had our line in the sand right here where we would have to change to shed our bearish bias, right? Over this right here, 163.51. And what did we do? We gapped right over it. Okay, so we gapped right over it. Next area over 166.02, I'm going to have to be bullish on the Qs until we get to 170, 150. Okay, that's the next area I'm looking for. If we break above this here to the left, I think we'll be moving up to get to this top of this red bar here. You can see the 200 is there as well. That's what we'll be focused on. Okay, so yeah, we're starting to see this nice transition here. After we broke down, we've been basing. Bears made an attempt here, right? And we saw the charts. We saw the uptrend break. We saw the lower high, the lower low. And then this resistance could not hold. So now we are neutral. Once we break 166.02, we will be bullish on the Qs and SPY. Okay, so it's going to be hard to return to a bearish bias until we actually get this weekly sell set up to trigger. But the longer that we base out here, the more that you're going to see a very similar transition on the weekly here that we already got on the daily. Okay, moved up, tried to go, couldn't go, basing out, now looking bullish. Okay, SPY doing the same thing here. Next area is going to be around this 275. Okay, 275 area is going to be where the SPY is going to be moving up to once we get past this resistance here to the left. Okay, high there is 267. So they're over 267. We will be bullish on the SPY. Okay, so that's what we'll be looking for going into Monday. Okay, I just want to talk about some of the names that we're looking at today. And sometimes, you know, on a day like today, I thought it was relatively quiet, especially in the morning. That, you know, it's as much about the things that you stayed away from or avoided as much as the things that you did. And I just want to bring in a couple of examples. Well, how do you know what to focus on? How do you know what to avoid? And we talked about this yesterday because I liked the AAL gap. I thought it was very bullish, and I was bullish on this gap. And the gap ended up not falling through. You can see it follow through today. Okay, ended up moving higher. Market moved higher as well. I'm sure that gave it a little bit of extra juice there. But as this AAL came in, right, making new lows, I know because people were kind of asking me, what do I think? Can I play this? Has it bottomed? And until this gets out of a downtrend, making lower lows and lower highs, I cannot. Okay, now when does this stop the downtrend is when we actually make a higher high. Okay, so on this 5-minute here, here's a high, here's a high, here's a high. They're all lower, right? You could even say there's a bit of a pivot here. I think there wasn't much time in the creation of this, so I'm going to make a judgment call and not call this a pivot. Okay, so this is going to be the pivot that I'm looking at. Once we break over that, the downtrend is broken, and I can look for the next entry. So any kind of breakout, any kind of pullback, I can play it long. Now, this didn't really go if you were looking at it as a day trade, but that's when I can look at it, when it's no longer in the downtrend. And today, again, on the WDC, which gapped up, a lot of people were asking me, what do I think about playing this WDC long? Now, if you're looking for quick scalps, I'm sure that you could have made something on it, that playing it long, you could have scalped some in and out. I'm not a scalper, so for me, I'm looking for usually at least 2-to-1 move on my risk to reward. So the low of the day is going to end up being the stop. Entry is going to be the break of a previous lower high. So it finally did double bottom out here. And then notice how we have, let's say, the opening high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high. Now, when did we finally break a lower high? Right here. We create a base. And then what? We can break out from the base, and now we can play it long. It's just kind of the end of the day. Wasn't really much time left to play. Okay, and I was, talking with people, and I know eventually it's going to bottom, and I know if you caught this on the bottom, this probably seemed like a really great trade. But I want a strategy, I want an entry, a pattern that I can repeat over time that will actually net me a positive expectancy, a positive outcome. I don't want to have to buy here, buy here, buy here, proven wrong 3-4 times just to make 1 or 2 of those losses back, right? Over time, I'm not going to have a positive expectancy. Okay, so this I don't play. I don't try to pick a bottom on something that's just grinding lower because maybe it hits a 20 MA, because maybe, I don't know, a lot of people have different reasons. I mean, even on the 15 here, I think someone was saying, yeah, we hit the 15. Okay, fine. Maybe that eventually did work, right? But I need something that I can repeat. Okay, and so when we're talking about that, right, and I guess we can use this WDC example because it was played yesterday on this gap up. Look at how this is just in an all-out downtrend, right? And then look at what was called yesterday. Sammy called this on the WDC, right? Runs up, and then we have a retracement. Is this in a downtrend? Is it making new lows? No. This is a low, and this is a higher low. We're playing it as a higher low, as a continuation of the uptrend, right? So that's going to look like the AVYA today, right? If you played this, runs up first, okay, puts in the base. This was into the afternoon here, so we're going to be on the 5 and the 15, and then puts in a base, and then breaks out from there. Had some nice continuation in it. I know some people played it. It was initially given as an idea, and then I kind of left it as given as an official call, and then I left it as an idea. I know some people went ahead and played it, but I just triggered there over lunch. Okay, so that's the difference. Like, I'm not even going to give you the WDC as an idea when it's making lower lows, right? And AVYA is the only idea I gave in the afternoon here, is either this or nothing. So that was the focus. Sammy had some nice plays on the Veil, and another one I think on the Court, just as climactics. Since I don't play climactics, I don't want to go in too much into depth in them. It'll be up to him if he wants to talk about those more. But he went over them thoroughly on the mic after and during while it was being played. So hopefully you're in the room and able to catch a couple of those, because those worked pretty nicely there if you didn't play like the AVYA. Okay, so that's going to do it. I thought today's pretty quiet. Next week, I think we'll have a lot to discuss, not just the market, but a lot of earnings plays as well. Okay, so, if you made some mistakes this week or are doing well, either make those adjustments and get ready for next week, because I think earnings season will come and go pretty quickly. It'll just be a couple weeks of really, really dense trading, a lot of opportunities coming up, and then we'll go back to a little bit of a lull. Usually March is when we really slow down, so maybe we're not quite there yet, but especially the last earnings season came and went really, really fast. So, if we're not at the point where if you're not doing well, where you're behind yet, but I do think, to next week you need to hit the ground running, okay? Because it's going to start and it's going to pick up pretty quick, okay? So just make sure you're ready, you know what you're looking for, because it's going to get busy. And hopefully, if you're in the room, you can take some of the calls and keep up, because I do think there's going to be a lot to keep track of next week. Okay, I think this week was perfect for the open house because the calls kind of came in a steady rhythm as opposed to a flurry, which I think next week will be, you just see a lot of calls and especially even more ideas. But yeah, just focus on the calls. Those are the things that we are giving to you and we consider just as perfect as we can find, as we can get on this day. Okay. All right. So make sure you're ready to go. Get lots of rest this weekend because it'll be a busy week next week. We'll see what the market brings us on Monday, and I will talk to you then. All right. Have a great weekend, guys. Hope you enjoyed the open house. I'll see you on Monday.